So I got into Twitter or X, and I see this post from Sunamods. I'll read it real quick. It says, Final Fantasy VII fans, or I'm sorry, Final Fantasy VIII fans. Do you feel like your game gets ignored? Do you wonder why it has less mods than 7 and 9? Well, I'm happy to announce that Sunamods broke through a modding barrier yesterday. After 27 years, the walls of Final Fantasy VIII's code have finally been broken. This is great news. Again, I wasn't aware of how in depth the community of Final Fantasy VIII was. I've never been really a modder myself. I mostly stayed to console gaming. So when it comes to modding and doing things to the game on Steam or on the computer itself, I never really done any of that. But I have friends that do it, and I seen a lot of content created with mods being used, and it's always been interesting, right? It's like a different way to experience your favorite game. And these mods take a lot of time. These mods take a lot of time to develop. It takes a lot of technical and understanding of what the codes are and what the computer, I mean, what the game is created on, like its engine and things like that. But this definitely got me excited because I've seen what the community is asking for. And in all honesty, it's fair to understand that Final Fantasy VIII's community does feel maybe a little bit ignored, or maybe does feel like their game is not being shown the appreciation that other Final Fantasy titles get. I know that Final Fantasy VII is like the golden child, right? But yeah, Final Fantasy VIII, has not received that much of attention and love. And partly now I understand it's because the code for it was so difficult to even understand, to even crack. Let's look at some of the comments in here because I think that some of the comments that the people are requesting or submitting their request for what they want modding to be for Final Fantasy VIII. So just going down, I'll say I will pay for an FFA remaster. I think this is something that a lot of people are asking for, right? Given the status of Final Fantasy VII and the attention that it has gotten, I feel that people do feel that Final Fantasy VIII should have been the next remake conversation in the works, and that didn't really happen. They kind of skipped all over eight and went into conversations of a remake of nine, which there are now rumors that it's not even going to happen, or it's at least frozen for the meantime. There is such a free joke to reply here, but I will restrain myself. Okay, I see where the joke is. I will pay for an FF8 remaster. Yeah, the joke is then we should pay then the modders, so that they can make Final Fantasy VIII great. One here says, I just want the battles to have better frame rate, like 30 FPS or even 60 FPS. Listen, call me crazy, and this might be a hot take, but I don't really care about 30 FPS, 60 FPS. As long as it runs smooth enough that I can play the game and enjoy the game, I don't really care about frame rates. I know that it does. A lot of people do care about this. I'm not saying that it's not a valid thing to care about. I'm just saying that in the grand scheme of things, if a game plays and looks good enough, that's good enough for me. But that's just my hot take. Huge news, yes. I am a fan. I think 8 doesn't get the love it deserves. It would be fire if it gets a little bit more attention. Good job, guys. Definitely, definitely. Can you mod out the enemy scaling thing or at least tune it? That and remove the thing where you can permanently miss stuff if you don't draw the right boss. I think that could totally be done. Just need someone to take up the job. And you're going to notice that a lot of the comments or the responses from Sunamods to a lot of these requests are It sounds doable. Let's see if we have somebody that will take up the job. Listen, I made my own post. I reposted and quoted. New breakthrough 27 years in the making. Square Enix needs to hire these teams to save what's left of the Final Fantasy franchise. I mean, Square Enix, this is directly to you. If you have a problem and there is a solution to solve that problem that is not going to cost you more than what you are already willing to invest in some of these third party ports, or some of these third party developers that are porting some of your games that are really not doing a good job because the community is screaming and begging that these things are not coming out the way that they should be. Why not give the opportunity to the people that are already doing it for free? God damn it, pay them. They have nothing to lose in this case right now. And they have been doing it loyally. They have been doing it very well because it's very well received whenever some of these mods come out, especially the groundbreaking ones, especially the ones that provide the audience or provide the player with features into the game that they already love that maybe you didn't necessarily think about at first, which is totally fair. Nobody's gonna get it right the first time or whatnot. But there's been 20 plus years of a community that has been vocal. You have them right here. There's no excuse. There's no excuse. Final Fantasy, every Final Fantasy game from 6 up until 9, excluding 7, just because 7 has already gotten its fair share of attention. But I'm sure that there's 100 mods that are still working with Final Fantasy 7, the OG one, right? So you guys have the resources. You just have to be willing to invest in them. They are right here. They are right here. Square Enix, if you ever watch this, as a fan of everything Square Enix, as a fan that has seen the impact that Square Enix had and the lack of impact that Square Enix has now, please, you have the community, you have the loyal fan base. Do not ignore us. Do not ignore them. Rent done. Rent done. Um, yeah, it's jarring. It's jarring.